Hey everyone, you know who it is. Here to talk about this new interview clip that's sort of been floating around the internet of DeRay activist, as you most likely know him, big in the Black Lives Matter movement, talking right across in the picture behind me with pop diva extraordinaire Katy Perry. They had this long interview, long discussion, but within this interview, there's sort of this short interview clip that a lot of people have been getting, really passionate about, argumentative about, and it's sort of this portion of the talk where they discuss Katy's history with cultural appropriation, sort of the mistakes that she's made in the past, wearing like a geisha outfit in a music video, wearing cornrows in a music video. And she's sort of talking about, hey, friends of mine, sat me down and said, hey, what you're doing is wrong and you should actually be a feminist and so on and so forth. And, not that I think that there's anything on its face wrong with any of the sort of opinions or disagreements that people have had with Katy Perry over the years over these issues. The problem with this interview and this discussion for me is that it's so disgustingly opportunistic on both sides of the aisle. I mean, for a guy like DeRay, who's deeply embedded in grassroots politics, there are a lot of things that I disagree with him about. There are a lot of things that I agree with him on. But it's not like he hasn't been opportunistic in the past. And I feel like this is really the height of him sort of embracing that opportunism. Because the thing is, what really does this ridiculous, uninformative conversation add to your cause, add to anybody's cause? This is you just simply sitting across from a pop star just so that you get more exposure in the mainstream. And that's it. Like, this isn't telling anybody anything. Like, nobody's learning from this. Nobody's getting anything out of this. It's just two worlds that really should not have collided and are only colliding because both of them are looking to use the other in a really obvious and kind of disgusting way. Obviously, like I said, with DeRay, it's just to kind of score more, political legitimacy points and also, kind of mainstream media legitimacy points. Katy Perry, on the other hand, is looking to sort of quell anger and aggravation with her over these issues that they talked about in this clip. She could have been interviewed by anybody. Why somebody who is an activist known for his affiliation with the Black Lives Matter movement? Anybody could have been asking her a lot of these questions. The fact that it's him, listen, I'm not saying DeRay shouldn't be allowed to interview her or anything like that, but clearly a statement is being sent by having him conduct the interview as opposed to any other music journalist or anybody from any other field of journalism that could have delivered an equally fluffy interview. Because while he does ask her some questions about these issues, he does not grill her on them. He does not hold her to he does not hold her feet to the flames. He doesn't sort of question her in the same way that somebody might over Twitter who's sort of angry with her over these same issues of cultural appropriation and so on and so forth. I mean, my personal opinion on what Katy Perry has done, in these instances that have made people angry, I think she's free to wear her hair as she wants. However, know that when you do something like that, know that when you do something like hop into a geisha getup for a music video, that you're crossing a cultural line that people on the other side may not have, did not invite you to cross, So when you do that, there are going to be people on the other side of that line who have unhappy but legitimate opinions. At the end of the day, it's still your decision. But the thing is, there are going to be people who are unhappy. And when you're in the public eye in the way that Katy Perry is, you can't sit there afterwards, after you've sort of made that decision to cross that line and say, oh, I just didn't know. I wasn't aware. I just made these mistakes, and my friends who are so amazing, they sat me down and they let me know out of love and out of compassion in a quiet space. They didn't clap back at me. It's one thing to make that claim when, like, let's say you're just some average white girl from a suburban or middle upper or upper class area, and you don't have much exposure to these things outside of the media or music videos, something like that. That's one thing. It's another thing to be making those claims when You have platinum albums and singles under your belt. You're one of the industry's top-selling pop stars. There's not a single thing you do, single, album, music video, album cover, that does not get scrutinized with a fine-tooth comb by numerous layers of industry insiders, marketers, so on and so forth. You and everybody who is a part of what you do are fully fucking aware of what you're doing. You can't sit there and plead ignorance when you have so many layers. You know, it's funny when, you know, Katy Perry starts talking about this portion of the, you know, what she's doing, starts talking about this portion of the interview. It's almost as if, like, you know, the entire industry behind her that makes what she does possible just doesn't exist. It's like every single decision is 100% hers, and nobody's informing her, nobody's influencing her, nobody's making suggestions, nobody's approving anything. It's just 100% Katy's artistic vision from beginning to end, and it's all 100% her. She's calling all the shots, and it's not like she has a giant record label and industry behind her also calling these shots, also making these decisions, also fully aware of the messages that she's sending and what exactly she's doing in every shot, every angle of every music video. So don't sit here and plead ignorance. You know, again, it's not that she can't do what she wants. She certainly can. But you can't sit there and act like people aren't going to be mad when you choose to, you know, do what people would call culturally appropriate so blatantly in your music videos. It's just kind of silly. And to me, sort of goes against what this interview is trying to so blatantly imply, and that's that Katy Perry is woke. She's learning. She's really aware. I mean, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I have not heard Katy Perry talk once about a living wage, ending the wars overseas, you know, ending all the foreign interventions. I haven't heard her talk once about the prison industrial complex. I haven't heard her once about ending the drug war. I haven't heard her talk once about climate change, maybe climate change, because I know she was shilling for Hillary Clinton. That's something that she talked about occasionally. I've never heard her once talk about gerrymandering and, you know, all of the disenfranchised people across America who can't vote or are disincentivized to vote, you know, sort of just how corrupt our politics are in terms of money in politics. I haven't heard her talk about any of these things. What I have heard her do is embrace the false and empty platitudes delivered by Hillary over the course of her campaign, which got her nothing in terms of, you know, success in politics for this past election cycle. And on top of that, I've seen her sort of just deliver a bunch of empty platitudes to DeRay across from her in this interview, and him just sort of nod like, yeah, you're learning. Yep, I get it. Yeah, are you a feminist? Oh, yes, I am. Okay, great. Thank you. I haven't heard Katy Perry talk at length about any kind of women's issues or anything like that within the U.S. or the even tougher hardships that a lot of women are facing overseas in the third world. So is Katy Perry woke? I don't think so. And I think the fact that this interview is kind of implying that or trying to portray that image is really disgusting, really ridiculous. I can believe, but I'm still kind of grossed out by the fact that DeRay would knowingly sort of play a role in what I want to say is it the normalization of Katy Perry's stupidity on these issues? Maybe not that. Maybe that's not the set of words that I'm looking for. But I guess the fact that he's there, sort of, giving her a pat on the back for educating herself, supposedly, is almost like he's there to sort of forgive her. He's there to sort of, you know, knight her a little bit, you know, grab the sword, put it on her shoulder. Oh, yes, you're anointed. Good job, Katy Perry. You're trying. You're learning. You're understanding about the power in black women's hair, which, again, is so funny because the thing is, if you're talking about legitimate reasons not to sort of do what Katy Perry is doing, just sort of talking about, quote unquote, the power in black women's hair, that's just such an empty platitude. You're not actually talking about, the legitimate and real reasons why black women may be mad about the reason you chose to wear that hairstyle in your music video. You know, you're just kind of giving this empty platitude as to why you think you shouldn't do it, with very little in the way of any kind of understanding as to why people may be actually mad at you. again, it just seems like Katy Perry is kowtowing to these issues when she doesn't really understand them, doesn't really care to understand. All she knows is that she doesn't want people to be mad at her, and it seems like that's all she's trying to fix with this interview. Again, it's ridiculous, it's opportunistic, it's kind of disgusting, and it makes you want to throw up. Okay.